Okay, so it's 8:15 here in Sydney. Welcome to the Cred.15 at 8:15. Thank you very much for everyone who's navigated a time change. We made some quick updates to the website. For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. For those of you who are returning guests, welcome back. The Cred.15 is a space where we want to help you navigate this time, stay connected, and help you build strong habits. Very briefly, just in terms of housekeeping, if you have used Zoom before, we want to make it as interactive as possible. So we will do some reflective exercises and invite you to type in the chat box. We'll also make some time for some questions. And if you want to ask Kendra or I any questions, we'll invite you to stay around at the end. For those of you watching on Facebook Live, if you're on your own, just feel free to shed out the response out into the air or write it down on a sheet of paper. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to my wonderful co-host, Kendra Studwick.
Thanks, Ronan. Good morning, everyone. Oh, Trish, big effort. I have no idea what time it must be for you. Stupid o'clock. We've worn our pajamas in sympathy with you, and because it's Sunday, so we want a more relaxed feel. You don't have to show up here having everything together. This is a space to just be you and to lean into different conversations than you would have had otherwise. So what I'd like to do is take us all through a short mindfulness activity to support us to arrive. Then we'll move into our labeling activity, our how are we feeling at the moment. And then we've got a special topic to explore and perhaps a guest that might join us. Just take a moment to take a deep breath. Breathe. Breathe again. Smile. Relax. And arrive. Be where you are, natural and open to effortlessness, to being, rather than doing. Drop everything, let go, and arrive. And now we're here. Let's take a moment to check in the emotions that might be floating through the system this morning. What's present for you today as you feel into your body and identify what's there? You can identify that through colour, through language, through an image or metaphor, or through a sound. And just take a moment to notice. And if you'd like to, type into the chat box what you noticed this morning and how you're feeling. Don't engage with the why am I feeling this way. It's not a chance to ruminate, it's a chance to notice, accept. So Christine's feeling relaxed on a Saturday night. What about others? Content, relaxed, chilled. Seems we do have that kind of vibe. Resigned to the next few weeks. Yeah, I can understand that. Ronan's got a sense of excitement and anticipation. Thank you. I do too, and a little bit of nervousness energy, but I don't think that's mine. I think I'm picking up on someone else's nervous energy. Folks, given it's a Sunday morning for us in Sydney, Ron and I had a conversation. Maybe Sundays should be sacred. Maybe we shouldn't run these sessions on a Sunday. And then we thought, not everyone gets the opportunity to have a Sunday off, to relax and have a leisurely breakfast with their family or wake up a little bit later. there's some folks that today is just like any other day. And I'm referring more to our first responders and our emergency workers that often go to work at stupid o'clock while we're all heading to sleep. That often have to be first on the scene and on their game and sharp and never able to take the moments that we have to pause and just check in how they're feeling. You know, it's not until they go home that they get a chance to do that. And then sometimes there's no one else in the house with them at that time. And it's such a privileged position today that we've got a first responder and someone that works with first responders. And my dear friend Nicole, who I love dearly, and I threw a curveball late in the day and said, hey, guess what? We want to do a first responders session tomorrow, and there's no one better that I'd love to hear from and bring their perspective into today's session. And she begrudgingly agreed, as long as we didn't put her on camera. So, Nicole, I just want to check your audio and know, can you hear me? Are you still here?
I'm still here, Kendra. Thank you. Thank you for the curveball.
Thank you. I know it's not the first curveball that you've caught in your life, and I don't want to share anything that you don't want me to share. So would you just take 10 seconds to introduce yourself however you feel appropriate?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me, first up. I was a police officer for 16 years, and it was an experience of a lifetime, I will admit. It has its ups and downs, but it was worth it. And I'm glad I've come out the other end and I can help other people now, which is what I'm actually loving.
Yeah. And what's your role now, Nicole, when you say you help other people? It's like the dream job for you.
It is. For so long, I helped members of the public, Kendra, and now I'm in a role that I can actually help my fellow colleagues, first responders, to get the health and well-being that they need to succeed and continue with their career as first responders. So we help work on the health and well-being. There's a psychological aspect, the physical aspect, as well as the social interactions, and we encourage them to get together on social activities to realise that they're not alone in what they're going through, and and seeing that you can get through anything that you need to together.
Yeah. And that community for them where they can come together and share their normal, which might be different to everybody else's normal.
Absolutely. And a lot of the times the things that they go through and the feelings that they have, they say that it's a normal reaction to an abnormal event. And when you start seeing it and realizing that comment, then you say that I'm not alone, and I'm not crazy, and it's what it is, and everyone's the same, going through the same thing. So that's the good idea behind it, saying that we're all in this together.
Yeah. And many of the tools or strategies that you shared that you make available for our first responders are the same as our pillars. It's how can we help them mentally, how can we help them move more, get more exercise, access those types of services, and the community aspect with special events and just conversations with other people.
Absolutely, because you can feel so isolated at times.
Yeah, and I think the rest of the world is just getting a small taste of that for this point in time, yet they live that every day. So I've got huge admiration and respect for what you do, what your colleagues do. And I just wanted to ask you, you've given us a bit of insight into their world. What might be going on for them at this point in time that we may not be aware of, so that if we have first responders in our life, or we come across one, the police officer that pulls us over and asks us where we're going, that's doing that for our own safety, we could be going, oh, how dare you? I feel like I'm being a prisoner in my own country. Like, I imagine that they're often met with aggression and they're just trying to help us help ourselves. So tell me what might be going on for them at the moment.
Absolutely. And the thing is, when you get pulled over by police, they're doing their job. And all the ambos, they turn up and they're doing their job, and they're doing it the best way they know how. in current climate, look, a lot of the things that be on their mind at the moment is the uncertainty. This is all uncharted waters. You know, there's no training, no formal training that you have that, you know, or what to do during the pandemic. You know, like this is unprecedented. And the thing is every day there's new rules and regulations and requirements that, you know, meaning change and chaos that they've got to learn on the run. You know, it's not in textbooks anywhere at the moment, you know, and this is all new for them. So they're learning as they go as well, you know. You have the frustration of people not doing what they're being asked to do by the government, you know, and then when you do give them a fine or whatever, oh, well, that's not fair. You're picking on me, you know. It's just a frustration. It gets to be like Groundhog Day, you know. People have got to understand that, you know, they're doing it for a reason, not because they want to, you know, just do it for fun. That's the difference, you know. I believe the biggest tug of war, the biggest psychological tug of war for any first responder is coming home after a shift with the possibility of unknowingly passing on this fatal virus to your family loved ones. That would be the biggest thing in the top of your mind the whole time, you know. You've been out there in the thick of it and exposed to everything. And I think what people don't realise is as a first responder, you go into autopilot. You constantly engage in the fight or flight response in your brain, and the adrenaline's pumping at all times. And it's not till you get home later and away from the chaos that you have time to reflect on that day or the previous days. And that's when it catches up with you, because at the time when you're working, you don't have that time because you've got to keep going, you know. So look, there's a lot of different things going through your mind, but I think the last one, which is a positive one, Kendra, is it's a sense of self-satisfaction and pride, that knowing that you're making a difference. And making a difference is what keeps you getting up every day and doing the same thing over and over again, knowing that you're helping, and you know, you do make a difference to the society and the community. And you've got a reason, you've got a purpose to be out there at your own risk.
Yeah, I've never thought about that aspect of the very people you want to protect the most are the ones that you worry that you're harming when you come home at the end of the evening. That must be really tough. Exactly.
And this virus is pretty scary. And they've actually likened it to saying, like, if you had a person with a firearm walking around the streets, you know, it's no different. The virus is not selective, you know, it picks whoever it wants. So it's mentally draining to worry about it the whole time, and then what you're going to take home to your family. Big worry.
I guess at least if there was an offender with a firearm, you could see them.
Exactly. It's the invisible killer, isn't it, really, when you look at it now? And it's quite scary. And you know, the first responders are out there, you know, doing what they have to do, having to put that in the back of their mind the whole time.
And often with really stretched services, if you think about our hospital staff who may have colleagues that are sick or have been exposed and then been put in quarantine, and everyone's having to do more with less. And we have our firefighters that had a very, very busy start to the year that might have been feeling depleted. Nicole, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing just a little bit of your story and some insight that will certainly help me feel way more compassionate and appreciative and grateful. Ronan, hand over to you.
Thank you, Kendra.
I just like to add my thanks, Nicole. That was amazing. I really appreciate you sharing perspective of what it's like to be on the front line. I think we all owe a debt of gratitude to everybody. So please pass on our thanks to everybody that you come in contact with, that there's a community out there who are very appreciative and grateful. Thank you, Nicole. Guys, for everybody, these are our 3 focus areas, as Kendra said: direct, move, and connect. And I think it's appropriate that if we look at the scan today around direct and focus on gratitude, just invite you to take a couple of seconds to reflect and think about what's one thing you are grateful for. And the element of move. Maybe today or tomorrow is the day to bring a bit of novelty into the movement element of our pillar. So is there something that you've been putting off? Maybe someone's been inviting you to do something, yoga with the family, the body coach exercise with the kids. Maybe today's the day to push outside the comfort zone and do something different. So take some time to think about what could you do differently today and have some fun for 15 minutes to make sure you're moving. And a final element, connect. So we encourage and incorporate, we encourage you to focus on the element of connection and social connection, even though we can't physically connect. So what if today was a day of creating a random act of kindness for someone who may derive more benefit from it than you could know? And I think we've got a group of people that we may be able to support. There's lots of creative ways out there. I want to thank everybody for being on our call today. Nicole, again, a huge depth of gratitude and acknowledgement to you. Thank you to Kendra for a wonderful session, for inviting Nicole onto our session today and to sharing with our community. We'll see everyone back here again at 5:15 p.m. Sydney today, and have a wonderful day.
Bye, everyone.